Okay, baguettes. So I did a lot of research and trial and error, probably 10 different styles of making baguettes. And this is kind of what I ended up for myself. It's a mixture of different people's, but I wanted it to be able to work effectively for me in an RV and making it first thing in the morning. So this is what I came up with, and just know that every situation is different. So the temperature of the room will affect various aspects of this, the quality of the water, how cold the water is, whether the air is moist because you're nearby the sea. All these things will have small effects on the baguettes. And also, like someone once said, you know, it's all about time. Baguettes take time. So this is the method that has worked for me now consistently. Works really well. The measures I'm going to use on this are half measures. So here's the full measures, and this is what I'm doing right now, which is half measures, which will make 2 small baguettes. The full measures will make 2 big baguettes. And I do this preparation the night before, and then I leave it overnight, and I'll explain that as we go. 260. So you've had the flour, you add the salt. Here we go. Adding the yeast. Now, super important to mix up the flour, the yeast, and the salt together first before you add the water. Okay, now got the water, mixing it up, pouring it into the flour. And now I'm going to mix it up with this wooden mix it up with this wooden spoon, but the handle end of it, and then I'm going to mix it with my hand in a minute. Now basically I just use one hand and I just mix it all up until all the dry bits of flour, flaky bits of flour, have all been fully absorbed into the dough. You can feel it with your fingers, so I'm basically pushing it with my fingers and folding it over and pushing it with my fingers and folding it over and pushing it with my fingers, and I just keep on doing that until all the dry bits of flour have been absorbed. So let's come back to this in a second. So it's now getting more to the consistency. After about 5 minutes, it's not too sticky and it's not too dry. A little bit stretchy, but not stretchy enough. That's why we leave it overnight. But yeah, that's pretty much how it will be left in a minute. I'll just finish this off. So there we have it. Now you can see by the fingers obviously are stuck with the dough, but not so wet that it's really tacky, and it's not too dry that it doesn't stick. If it's too dry, I usually just dip my fingers in some water and then put it in there and just or like add a teaspoon of water. So put the lid on, and then I leave it at room temperature overnight and leave it to, I mean, you'll see in the morning when I cut to the next shot, you'll see what it looks like in the morning. But that's the way that I do it, so I don't have to fold it dozens of times, and it works really well by leaving it overnight. All right, let's see how it looks in the morning. So this is what it looks like the day after. Ta-da! So now we have to scrape it out and put it into a bowl and put some flour here. Put the flour now in the bowl, using my spatula. As you can see, it's quite gooey, but it's very stretchy and lots of air in it. And we're going to just put it out. very stretchy. Get every last bit out of here. Now sprinkle a little bit of flour on top, just to make it workable. And literally this is all I do. This is the only extent of the folding you need to do. It's just putting it up, folding it over, putting it up, folding it over, and just getting it into a nice workable piece of dough with the flour. And that's all I do, literally. Just do that a few times, no more, because it's been fermenting all night. And then with these amounts of ingredients, I've now divided this into two. Divide it into two. And then I flatten this out with my fingertips, so it's creating little air pockets inside, which it does. I'm just flattening it out. Then I'm going to fold it in half, and then fold the other half over the top of that half and pinch it together, like so. Kind of make it into the shape. Yeah, get some flour on it to make it easier. There we go. And then I just make it into a shape like this. Now it seems small, but this, after proofed, will be much bigger. That's one. I'll put it over here. I'll lay that there. There. That's one. And then I'll do the same with the other one, just to repeat it. I find it easier just to move it into the shape by squeezing it. My baguettes can have an odd shape to them sometimes. There we are. This one's slightly bigger. There we go. Now I'll just cover this up and leave it, depending on your room temperature, for a minimum of an hour. I find that an hour and a half is probably better. As you can see, they've increased in size. They've been proofing for about an hour and a half. I now shall score them, but I'll have to show you that in a minute because I need both hands. Scored. Now spray them with some water, a little bit of water. And pop them in the oven. And at the bottom of the oven is the hot water, boiling hot water. After 5 minutes, I give it another spray of water, just one last spray. After doing 15 minutes on one side, I take them out and spin them around to face the other way, just so the back doesn't get too burnt. And now left to dry, to cool down. So that was, how long were they in there for? Half an hour? Half an hour. In my oven they were in there for 40 minutes. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So here we are. Very, very soft. Not dense at all. And I think that that's mainly down to proofing it for an hour and a half rather than an hour. That's my feeling.